Hey everybody, this is a reaction video to the playoffs as a whole, the NFL playoffs so far, and I'll talk more in depth about our Eagles being from the city of Philadelphia and represent the Eagles. But the Titans got smoked by the Patriots after having their impressive win against the Chiefs last week. Marcus Mariota really couldn't get he had a decent game actually. He had 2 TDs for 254 yards, but Tennessee couldn't mix in their running game at all, and they really just couldn't compete with the Patriots. They competed for a short period of time, then from then on out, Patriots routed them. They just didn't have the competition to compete. For the Falcons and Eagles, we had a very hard time getting going as well in the first half. Struggling was huge. And Foles was struggling. But then in the second half, it flipped, and we wouldn't really struggle much at all, and we started to get going. Foles actually finished 23 for 30, which is pretty good with 246 yards. Problem is we couldn't get in the end zone. He couldn't get anything into the end zone. So we had a touchdown by Blunt, and then a lot of help from our kicker and our defense. So this was really a game that our defense stepped up and won us, and it's kind of like how people were saying, Nick Foles just can't lose us the game. He doesn't necessarily have to win us the game. We think we have a good enough defense combined with the rest of our offense around him to run some short plays, get it going deep like a short screen to Aguilar's fast runs down the field, etc. Or it can get a running game going, which is going to be hard against Minnesota. I do give us that. It's going to be very tough against Minnesota. We might have to mix in more nice passes, screens, etc. to get them off balance. But we think with our defense and our run game, it's going to be a battle of mighty full defenses this weekend. And our great running game with Minnesota's solid running game that can mix in some weeks. We really just need to keep playing like we were and keep playing great defense, and I think we have a good chance against Minnesota because we just have to play great defense, and I think we're good. Play great defense this game. That's really what won us the game. We held Matt Ryan at check, and we held Freeman at check, not as much Tevin Coleman. He has some good runs against us, but overall keep playing that great defense, and we should be good. Now, the Jags and Steelers, that was a amazing game. That game ended up going down to the wire. Jacksonville, once the Steelers came back, that is, Jacksonville took a huge lead at the beginning. Then the Pittsburgh came back, which in the playoffs, there's no way Big Ben's just going to roll over. I understand he struggles against Jacksonville mightily, but in the playoffs he was going to bounce back and do something, and he did. He really came on. In the end, he threw for 469 yards with 5 touchdowns, interception, 8.1 average, 53 QBR, and a 110.5 rating. He did everything he could have possibly done. Yeah, you might say, oh, well, if he got some stuff done right away, then they would have won the game. Yeah, but he did everything he could have possibly done once he got going to win the game. Their defense looked terrible most of that game. The Steelers, Le'Veon Bell did well for them. Antonio Brown had a remarkable game, first game back from injury. He had 132 yards. McDonald had 112 yards. Bell had 88 receiving himself. Bryan had 78, and then Rodgers had 42. And Ben Roethlisberger came up in the biggest of moment plays. He had 2 touchdowns on deep passes on 4th down. So he literally did everything he could have possibly done to win them the game. But Jacksonville, Blake Bortles did what he had to do. He had a 94.1 rating with 14 for 26 with 214 and a tutty. Fournette had 109 yards with 3 touchdowns, and then TJ Yeldon packed on an extra touchdown. So Bortles did what he had to do. It's like the same thing with Nick Foles. Blake Bortles is not a quarterback that's going to carry you over the path, but if you have a great team around him, you can win. So basically with Jacksonville, Blake Bortles just had to make sure he didn't lose him the game, and he didn't. He kept control of the ball. He didn't have a turnover. And he made plays when he needed to. He made some good throws in that game when he really needed to. Now, on to the best game of them all. The Vikings at home against the Saints. That was an absolutely remarkable game. The game was great the entire time through. And then that amazing, remarkable miracle, if you want to call it, play that you won't see in years again, game-ending catch by Stefon Diggs, just made everybody, besides Saints fans, just football fans everywhere, kind of go nuts and just, that was amazing. There's not much other words to describe it other than that was just an amazing moment in the playoffs that I will, and I know many other people, especially Vikings fans, but I think just very diehard football fans remember that play for years. Just like the Holmes catch in the Super Bowl. You remember it in the end zone getting his feet in. That's another play you probably remember for years. Diggs making a fantastic catch. Drew Brees really came on slow in this game. He had a good second half when having a very poor first half. But he finished off strong, did very well. Then Willie Snead, we now know for one of the passes, they tried to run a trick play. He actually had Kamara, was a great high school quarterback. Willie Snead was at 40, like a billion passing yards and a bunch of touchdowns, 40 in a season. But that's a long time ago. He didn't make the throw, and now some people blame Mike Tomlin, or not Mike Tomlin, excuse me, Sean Payton for calling a play like that. So it is what it is. Thomas had a good game. Kamara had an okay game. But the Saints just couldn't get going. The Vikings, Case Keenum did everything he had to do. He had 318 with an 85 rating, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The interception was a very bad throw, but he made up for it by making some big throws at the end of the game. Murray had a good game. McKinnon had a good game. That's the running mix that I'm talking about that you still have to watch out for. Diggs had a great game. Thielen, Wright, Rudolph. So this is the team the Eagles got to be ready for this weekend, or Eagles. But the Vikings had a great game. They took care of business at home. Now they got to come into Philadelphia as a normal Domes team and play out in the elements in the cold. So we will see how this goes. This has been a great playoff so far. Great wins. The Titans over the Chiefs was a great first win, but then we knew they didn't have a chance against the Patriots. And then the Eagles game, if we thought that was a exciting game because of defense, we just kept getting more and more exciting games this weekend with Pittsburgh against the Vikings, or Pittsburgh against the Jags, and then the Vikings against the Saints. These games have just been really fun to watch. And then the Falcons against the Rams last week was, and then if you're a defensive buff, some people are, from what I read and watched on analysts this year, some people really like the Bills and Jags game because it was a huge defensive game, and then the Saints and Panthers. Most of these games in the playoffs so far have had interesting moments in some way, in some form, whether it was because the defense is playing great, which I can take pride in at time. I like seeing a lot more scoring. I don't like seeing those huge defensive games all the time, but they are, you have to give credit where credit's due to two defenses when that happens. But this has been a reaction video to our great NFL playoffs so far. This is Sports Fanatic News. I'm Joe Borek. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the rest of MLK. Happy MLK. This is Sports Fanatic News. I'm Joe Borek. Peace.